There are places in your home that whisper secrets when the night grows still. There are cracks in the walls you cannot see and doors you never knew existed. Not the ones built by wood and iron, but the ones forged by pain, bitterness, anger, and fear. These doors do not creak when they open, but they invite in spirits that do not come with love or light. They come like thieves, silent yet destructive, ready to steal your joy, ready to rob your peace, ready to shatter the sanctuary you have built. Your home is meant to be a temple, a place where your spirit rests and your soul heals. But if you are not careful, it can become a battleground, a gateway where darkness enters and takes residence. The enemy does not need your permission to knock, but he needs your agreement to enter. And too many of us are agreeing without even knowing it. There are demons that slip through unnoticed, disguised as simple habits or overlooked objects. And before you realize it, they are seated at your table eating with you, breathing in the air meant to be filled with praise. They are cunning, they are patient, and they will not kick down the front door like a wild storm. They will slide through the smallest crack left unattended. The first door they look for is the door of anger. When anger is left unchecked, when bitterness becomes a resident in your heart, you have opened the gateway wide. The arguments that echo in the hallways, the silent treatments that build like a wall, the resentment that grows in the corners of your relationships, all of these are invitations. Darkness feeds on conflict. Every word spoken in rage, every curse shouted in fury is like laying out a feast for the enemy. Some of you have been carrying old wounds for years, replaying conversations in your mind, nurturing grudges as though they are treasures, not realizing they are seeds. And those seeds grow into vines that choke the very life out of your home. You cannot create a dwelling of peace if you are hosting hatred. Forgiveness is not about excusing the wrong done to you. It is about locking the door so evil cannot get in through the bitterness that festers. Every time you forgive, you close one more opening. Every time you choose to release instead of retaliate, you build a wall of divine protection around your spirit and your space. The second door is fear. Fear is a liar, but it is also a powerful key that unlocks the very things you dread. When fear dwells in your home, it attracts the very demons that will exploit it. A house filled with fear is like a beacon in the dark, calling out to every wandering spirit looking for a place to reside. The enemy knows if he can keep you afraid, he can keep you bound. Fear of failure, fear of loss, fear of the unknown. These are the cracks through which evil seeps. Some of you wake up every morning with anxiety sitting on your chest, whispering lies before you even rise from your bed. You do not see it, but that fear is an altar, and every time you bow to it, you worship something other than the Creator. You must speak against fear as though it were a living thing, because it is. It grows if you feed it, it shrinks if you starve it. Walk through your home and declare aloud that fear has no place here. Speak words of power into every room, every corner, every shadow. Let the darkness know it is not welcome. When you feel fear creeping in, do not simply sit in silence. Lift your voice in prayer, in song, in scripture, in anything that reminds you who you are and whose you are. The sound of faith is a weapon, and demons tremble when they hear it. The third door is what you allow into your home through what you watch, what you listen to, and what you speak. Many people underestimate the power of entertainment, of music, of idle conversations. But every song has a spirit, every word has a weight, and every image has an intention. When you fill your home with television shows that glorify violence, music that celebrates hatred and lust, words that tear others down, you are laying out a red carpet for darkness. Demons do not always come cloaked in shadows. Sometimes they come disguised as catchy beats and clever lines. You must guard your gates. Your eyes and ears are doors, and whatever you allow in through them does not just affect you. It affects everyone who dwells under your roof. Some of you are unknowingly fighting battles that began with a simple compromise. A movie you thought was harmless, a song you thought was just a joke, a conversation filled with gossip you thought was innocent. These small openings become portals for chaos. Be mindful of what you allow to take root in your home. Walk through your space with discernment. Ask yourself, does this honor the light or does it invite darkness? If it does not bring peace, if it does not align with truth, then it has no place in the sanctuary of your home. Another door is unspoken pain. The wounds you hide, the traumas you bury deep, the silent suffering that never finds release. All of these are like rooms you keep locked inside yourself. But what you do not heal becomes a playground for darkness. Demons love secrecy. They thrive in hidden shame. That is why speaking your truth is so powerful. When you give voice to your pain, you bring it into the light where it can no longer control you. Some of you are holding on to childhood wounds, heartbreaks, betrayals, and disappointments so tightly that they have become part of your identity. But you are not what happened to you. You are not the sum of your scars. You are a vessel of divine light, and the moment you open your mouth and speak healing over yourself, you begin to seal that door forever. The next door is disorder and chaos. God is a God of order, of structure, of peace. Where there is constant chaos, confusion, and disarray, darkness will always be present. Look around your home. Is it filled with clutter, with things you no longer need, with messes that never seem to be resolved? Physical chaos often reflects spiritual chaos. When you allow your environment to remain in constant disarray, you create a space where demons feel comfortable. Begin by bringing order to what you can see, and you will begin to feel the shift in what you cannot see. Clean your space with intention, not just to remove dirt but to clear the spiritual atmosphere. As you sweep, as you wipe, as you organize, speak words of life. Declare that every corner is filled with light, that every shadow is banished. A house prepared for peace cannot easily be invaded by chaos. There is also the door of relationships. Be mindful of who you allow into your home, because not every person carries light. Some people bring with them spirits that seek to harm. Hospitality is holy, but discernment is divine protection. When you open your door to someone, you are opening your spiritual gates as well. If their spirit is heavy with anger, jealousy, or deceit, they can leave behind residue that lingers long after they are gone. Pray over your home after visitors leave. Cover your space with words of cleansing. And if someone consistently brings darkness into your life, you must be willing to set boundaries even if it hurts. Your peace is too precious to sacrifice for the sake of pleasing others. Demons also enter through silence. Silence where there should be praise, silence where there should be prayer. A home without prayer is like a city without walls. It has no defense. The enemy does not fear an empty space, but he trembles when he hears faith proclaimed. Fill your home with sound that glorifies life and love. Read aloud words of truth. Sing songs that lift your spirit. Even if you are alone, let your walls echo with hope. Silence invites darkness, but sound infused with faith drives it out. And then there is the door of the tongue. Words are not just sounds, they are seeds. What you speak in your home determines what grows there. If you constantly speak negativity, criticism, fear, and doubt, you are planting a harvest of darkness. Demons do not need to do much work in a house where destruction is spoken daily. But when you speak life, when you declare blessings even in the midst of struggle, you create an environment where light flourishes. Be intentional with your words. Speak as though the very atmosphere is listening, because it is. Your walls remember. Your rooms hold the echoes of what you have said. Let those echoes be filled with hope, not despair. There are objects, too, that carry spiritual weight. Some of you have unknowingly brought items into your home that are gateways for darkness. Certain symbols, certain artifacts, certain gifts may look beautiful but carry hidden intentions. If you sense heaviness or unrest in your space, ask for divine discernment. Walk through your home and ask, does this belong here? Does this honor my spirit? If the answer is no, remove it. Do not be afraid to let go of things that do not align with peace. Your home should reflect light, not confusion. Understand this. Demons cannot stay where they are unwelcome. Darkness cannot survive where light is intentionally cultivated. You have authority over your home. You have the power to close every door, to seal every crack, to evict every spirit that does not belong. But it requires action, it requires vigilance. You cannot simply wish for peace, you must create it. Walk through your home with boldness. Speak to every room, every corner, every hidden place. Declare that no darkness has power here. Anoint your doors, your windows, your thresholds with prayer and intention. Let your home become a fortress of light. Some of you have been living under spiritual attack for so long that you have begun to believe this is just how life is meant to be. But hear me, you are not destined to dwell in darkness. You are not condemned to constant warfare. You are chosen to be a light bearer, a guardian of peace, a warrior who protects what is sacred. The first step is awareness. Now that you see the doors, you have the power to close them. Do not fear the darkness. Fear has no authority where faith stands firm. Even the smallest light can pierce the deepest shadow. When you rise each day, declare over your home and your life, this space is holy, this space is protected. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. Speak it until you believe it. Believe it until you see it. See it until it becomes your reality. Your home is not just walls and a roof. It is an altar. It is where your spirit finds rest, where your dreams are nurtured, where your legacy is built. Protect it fiercely. Guard it faithfully. Fill it with love so abundant that darkness has no room to breathe. Close every door that does not honor the light. And when the enemy comes knocking, let him find a house so filled with divine presence that he flees before he even crosses the threshold. You have the power to transform your home, your life, and your future. Rise up, take authority, speak boldly, close the doors, and let your house become a sanctuary where only light may dwell, where demons have no foothold, and where peace reigns eternally. There are those who walk into their homes every night, carrying the weight of the world on their shoulders, believing that once they cross the threshold they are safe. But what many do not realize is that the very place they run to for rest has been silently invaded. You can lock every window, bolt every door, and install every alarm system. But there are thieves that do not use keys made of metal. They use the keys forged in your emotions, your habits, your choices. They are not seen with human eyes, but their effects are felt. The sleepless nights, the sudden arguments, the unexplainable heaviness that lingers in the air. All of these are evidence that something has crept in unnoticed. And while many will run to fix the symptoms, they ignore the source. You cannot spray perfume over rot and call it clean. You must go deep into the very soul of your home and uproot what does not belong. There are generations of pain that can dwell in a single space if left unchecked. Demons do not just target individuals, they target bloodlines. If you have ever walked into a house and felt tension without a word being spoken, you have felt the residue of battles fought long before you arrived. Some of the doors in your home were opened before you were even born. Patterns of addiction, cycles of poverty, repeated heartbreaks, endless strife. These are not coincidences. They are chains passed down, spirits attached to names and addresses, waiting for someone to rise and say, "This ends with me." You have that power. You have that authority. You can stand in the center of your living room and declare that every generational curse is broken, that no spirit of destruction will continue in your lineage. Your voice, your faith, your determination can become the sword that cuts through centuries of darkness. Do not underestimate the weight of what you carry. When you pray, when you speak light, you are not only protecting yourself but every soul connected to you. Demons understand legacy far better than many humans do. That is why they fight so hard to remain hidden. If they can stay unnoticed, they can influence the future. But when you begin to see, when you begin to speak, when you begin to act, their power begins to crumble. Your awareness is their defeat. There are nights when you may feel utterly alone in this fight, when the weight of what you are facing seems impossible. But let me remind you of something profound: you are never truly alone. There are unseen forces of light fighting alongside you. For every demon that tries to enter, there are angels standing ready to defend. For every whisper of darkness, there is a shout of hope rising higher. Your responsibility is to invite that light into your home with intention. You do not have to be perfect to be powerful. You only need to be willing. Even the smallest act of faith creates a ripple that shakes the unseen world. Lighting a candle with prayer, speaking a blessing over your family, singing a song of praise while you clean, these simple actions become weapons in a war you may not see but are absolutely a part of. Some of you have been taught that spiritual warfare is something that happens only in churches or on holy days. But hear me, the battlefield is your living room, your bedroom, your kitchen table. Every choice you make within those walls is a declaration of who reigns there. When you choose to speak peace instead of anger, you are swinging a sword. When you choose to forgive instead of retaliate, you are building a fortress. When you choose to fill your home with light, you are declaring victory before the fight even begins. There is a deep, quiet courage required to face what has been hidden. It is easy to point to external enemies, to blame the world outside. But the most dangerous doors are often the ones we keep locked in our own hearts. When you sit in silence with yourself, when you allow the truth to rise to the surface, you may find that the greatest battle is internal. The demons that whisper are not always external forces. They are the lies you've believed about yourself, the shame you've carried, the self-doubt that gnaws at your spirit. If you can face those lies and speak truth over them, you will find that many external battles suddenly lose their power. For the enemy cannot control a soul that has learned to stand firm in its own worth. This is why love is the most powerful force you can bring into your home. Love is not passive. It is not just a feeling, it is a weapon. When you choose love deliberately, when you extend grace even when it is undeserved, you create an environment where darkness cannot survive. Hatred and love cannot coexist. Fear and love cannot coexist. Where there is true love, there is freedom. That is why the enemy works so hard to destroy relationships within families, to sow division between spouses, to pit parents against children, siblings against siblings. If he can destroy the foundation of love, he can build a fortress of chaos. But when you nurture love, when you speak it, when you demonstrate it daily, you are building walls so high that no darkness can scale them. Imagine walking through your home and seeing it not just as a structure of wood and stone, but as a living, breathing reflection of your soul. Every room tells a story. The kitchen holds the memories of shared meals, laughter, and tears. The bedroom carries your dreams, your hopes, your most intimate prayers. The living room holds the echoes of conversations, of lessons taught, of moments cherished. If each space were alive, what would it say? Would it speak of peace or of tension? Would it sing of joy or whisper of despair? You have the power to rewrite the story. You can take what has been filled with pain and infuse it with purpose. You can walk into that room where arguments once erupted and fill it with words of blessing instead. You can reclaim that space where fear once lingered and declare it a sanctuary of courage. Do not be afraid to speak aloud in your home. There is power in the spoken word. Walk from room to room and say what you want to see, even if it does not yet exist. Speak healing into the walls. Speak prosperity into the floors. Speak joy into the ceilings. Words shape worlds, and your home will reflect what you consistently declare. There will be resistance. Darkness does not surrender without a fight. When you begin to close doors, when you begin to take authority, you may feel the pressure increase. Old patterns may try to resurface. Arguments may flare unexpectedly. Do not be discouraged. This is not a sign of failure but of progress. When you stir the spiritual atmosphere, everything hidden comes to the surface. Stand firm. Do not retreat. The moment when the battle feels most intense is often the moment just before breakthrough. Keep speaking. Keep praying. Keep acting with love and faith. It is also vital to remember that you are not fighting people. Your spouse, your children, your neighbors, they are not the enemy. The true enemy works through misunderstanding, through miscommunication, through old wounds. When you see conflict rising, pause, breathe, look beyond the surface. Ask yourself, what door is being opened here? What spirit is trying to gain access? When you address the root instead of the symptom, you will find solutions that bring lasting peace instead of temporary relief. Every day, you are either opening doors or closing them. There is no neutral ground. Even your silence is a choice. Even your inaction is a decision. That is why you must live with intention. Begin each morning with a moment of reflection. Ask yourself, what kind of energy am I inviting today? What kind of atmosphere am I creating? Light does not happen by accident. It must be cultivated, protected, and nurtured. Sometimes closing doors will require sacrifice. You may need to let go of certain relationships, certain habits, certain possessions. It may hurt at first, it may feel like loss. But understand this: every door you close to darkness makes room for something greater. When you release what does not serve you, you create space for blessings you cannot yet imagine. Trust the process. Trust that what you are letting go of is only clearing the way for what is meant to come. As you continue this journey, remember that your home is a reflection of your inner world. If you long for peace in your environment, begin by cultivating peace within yourself. Sit in stillness. Breathe deeply. Speak kindness to yourself. Forgive yourself for past mistakes. As you heal internally, your external space will begin to mirror that healing. The walls will seem brighter. The air will feel lighter. Even visitors will notice the difference without knowing why. There will come a day when you look back and realize just how far you've come. You will remember the nights of fear, the days of chaos, the moments when it felt as though darkness was winning. And you will see how each act of faith, each word of blessing, each door closed was building a legacy of light. Your home will stand not just as a place of shelter but as a testimony. Others will enter and feel the presence of peace so strongly that they will be inspired to create the same in their own lives. And when the enemy comes again, as he always will, you will not be shaken. You will stand at the threshold with unshakable authority and declare, "Not here. Not this house. Not this family." And he will flee, for he knows he has no power where light reigns. So rise, beloved soul. Take up your mantle as the guardian of your home. Walk with courage through every room, through every memory, through every hidden corner. Speak light where there was once darkness. Build love where there was once strife. And know, deep in your spirit, that you are not merely closing doors. You are opening gateways to a future filled with joy, peace, and unshakable strength. The house you live in will become a lighthouse for others, a beacon that guides them through their own storms. For when you claim victory in your home, you ignite a chain reaction of hope that spreads far beyond your own walls. And in the end, you will see that this was never just about four walls and a roof. It was about your soul. It was about your legacy. It was about choosing every single day to be a warrior of light in a world that desperately needs it. Close the doors, beloved. Close them with intention, with power, with unwavering faith. And as you do, watch as your home becomes not only a place of refuge for you and those you love, but a holy ground where darkness dares not tread. There comes a moment, a holy and undeniable moment, when you realize that the house you live in is more than shelter. It is more than brick and mortar, more than plaster and paint. It is a reflection of your very soul. Every sound that echoes through its walls, every object resting on its shelves, every word spoken in its rooms, they all bear witness to what lives unseen. And if you listen carefully, if you truly open the ears of your spirit, you will hear the silent stories that linger there, the victories, the heartbreaks, the prayers whispered in desperation, the laughter that once rang out like bells, and the tears that soaked the pillows at night. These stories cling to the air, shaping the atmosphere like an invisible fog, and the unseen forces of darkness know how to read them. They know how to find the wounds left unhealed, the bitterness left unresolved, the cracks left unrepaired. They slip through those cracks like smoke through a keyhole, unnoticed at first, until one day you awaken and realize your home does not feel like home anymore. Perhaps you have felt it. That heaviness that falls over you when you step through the door, the sudden change in mood, the arguments that seem to erupt without warning, the exhaustion that comes not from work or weariness but from something deeper. You clean and organize, yet the air still feels unsettled. You light candles, play music, open windows, but the feeling remains. It is not dust or clutter you are fighting. It is the residue of spirits that were invited knowingly or unknowingly through doors left ajar. Darkness does not need a grand invitation, it only needs permission. And sometimes permission is given without a single word. When there is unresolved conflict, when there is secret sin, When there are words of hatred or fear spoken carelessly, the door swings wide. Every curse uttered in anger, every lie spoken in deceit, every thought soaked in envy creates a vibration, a frequency that calls out into the spiritual realm, and the darkness answers. But the good news, the hope that burns brighter than any shadow is this: just as words and actions can open doors to darkness, they can also open doors to light. You are not powerless. You are not at the mercy of unseen forces. You are the keeper of your home, the guardian of its gates, and you have been given authority to close what should be closed and open what should be opened. It begins with awareness. Walk through your home not just with your eyes, but with your spirit. Pause in each room and ask yourself what it feels like. Do you sense peace or unrest? Is there an area where tension always seems to rise? Where arguments always seem to happen, where nightmares seem to gather? Pay attention to these patterns. They are not random. They are signposts pointing to doors that need to be closed. Perhaps it is the corner where you always pay the bills, heavy with financial anxiety. Perhaps it is the bedroom where trust was broken and never restored. Perhaps it is the hallway where a child's cries once echoed, never comforted. These are the places where darkness lingers, feeding on unspoken pain. When you identify these places, do not shrink back in fear. Stand tall. Speak boldly. Your voice carries weight. Walk into that space and claim it for the light. Say aloud that every shadow must flee, every spirit of chaos must leave, every lingering residue of sorrow must be healed. Speak it until the air itself begins to shift. There is great mystery in the power of words, but there is no mystery to the enemy about it. He knows, and that is why he fears your voice. When you remain silent, he thrives. When you speak with authority, he trembles. But understand this: closing doors to darkness is not just about removing what is harmful. It is about actively filling your home with what is holy. When you sweep away the cobwebs of pain but leave the space empty, darkness will only return stronger than before. You must replace what you remove. If you cast out anger, replace it with words of peace. If you cast out fear, fill the space with faith. If you remove harmful objects, replace them with symbols of hope and beauty. Light is not passive, it is active, vibrant, and alive. Think of your home as a garden. If you do not plant intentionally, weeds will grow by default. The enemy plants seeds of chaos when you are not paying attention. But you can uproot those weeds and plant seeds of love, joy, and gratitude. This is not metaphorical, it is literal. Place a scripture verse on your wall, a photograph that reminds you of joy, a piece of music that lifts your spirit. Let every object tell a story of light. When you do this, your home begins to hum with a frequency that darkness cannot tolerate. There are also spiritual practices that cleanse the atmosphere in ways that go beyond the physical. Prayer is the most powerful of these. Not the hurried, distracted prayers spoken in passing, but deep, intentional prayers that pour from the heart like water over dry soil. Walk through your home and pray aloud in every room. Lay your hands on the doors and windows, declaring them sealed against darkness. Anoint the thresholds with oil or simply with your words. Speak blessings over the people who dwell there, even if they are not present. Say their names with love and hope, calling them into wholeness. Music, too, is a weapon. Play songs that glorify life and love. Let melodies of hope fill the air so completely that darkness has no space to breathe. Even when no one is listening consciously, the walls will remember. The vibrations will linger. Demons cannot stand in a house filled with praise. And yet, it is not only the spiritual practices that matter, your daily actions are just as powerful. Every time you speak kindly instead of harshly, you close a door. Every time you choose forgiveness over resentment, you lock a gate. Every time you practice gratitude instead of complaint, you build a wall of protection around your home. Do not underestimate the seemingly small choices you make. They are bricks in the fortress you are building. Sometimes, the hardest doors to close are the ones connected to people we love. There may be relationships you hold dear, but if those people consistently bring chaos and darkness into your space, you must make difficult decisions. Setting boundaries does not mean you do not love them. It means you love yourself and your family enough to protect what is sacred. You can pray for them, bless them from afar, but you do not have to give them unlimited access to your home. Love with wisdom, not naivety. Even a warm heart must have strong walls. There are objects, too, that must be released. Some may seem harmless, a souvenir from a trip, a gift from a friend, an heirloom passed down through generations. But if you sense unease when you look at it, if the atmosphere shifts when it is near, trust that feeling. Not every item carries light. Some are vessels for darkness, intentionally or unintentionally. Walk through your home and examine each thing you own with discernment. Ask, does this bring peace or unrest? Does this align with the light I want here? If the answer is unrest, let it go without hesitation. You are not losing an object, you are gaining freedom. It is also crucial to guard the doorways of your senses. The images you watch on a screen, the lyrics you allow into your ears, the conversations you participate in, they are all gateways. If you feed your spirit with violence, lust, or hatred through entertainment, you are opening doors without even realizing it. The enemy is subtle. He does not need to appear in obvious forms when he can slip in disguise as amusement. Be mindful of what you consume, for it will eventually shape the atmosphere of your home. Choose content that uplifts, challenges, and inspires. Your soul deserves nourishment, not poison. As you practice these things, you will begin to notice a change. The air will feel lighter. Sleep will come easier. Arguments will diminish. Even those who visit your home will remark on the peace they feel without knowing why. This is not coincidence. It is the tangible result of the doors you have closed and the light you have cultivated. But do not grow complacent. Closing doors is not a one-time act. It is a lifelong practice. Just as a house requires regular cleaning, your spiritual home requires regular maintenance. Each day, take a few moments to check the locks, so to speak. Reflect on your words, your thoughts, your choices. Have you allowed anger to linger? Have you spoken fear instead of faith? Have you let harmful influences creep back in? Address these things immediately, before they take root. Vigilance is the price of peace. And remember this: you are not alone. Even when the battle feels overwhelming, you are surrounded by unseen allies. Angels stand guard at your gates, waiting for you to give them permission through your faith. The Creator Himself dwells with you when you invite Him in. You are never fighting in your own strength. When you feel weary, lean on that truth. Whisper it to yourself in the dark hours: I am not alone. I am protected. I am covered. There will come a day when the story of your home is one of triumph. You will walk through the rooms and remember what once was, the shadows, the struggles, the sleepless nights. And you will smile knowing that you did not just survive, you overcame. Your home will become a sanctuary not only for you but for all who enter. Strangers will step through your door and feel their burdens lift, not knowing why, only knowing that peace resides there. Your children, your loved ones, your community will be changed by the light you nurtured within those walls. This is your legacy. This is your calling. You are more than a dweller of a house, you are a keeper of sacred space. Each prayer you speak, each act of love you perform, each door you close is a testament to the power of faith in action. So rise, beloved one. Stand tall in the authority you have been given. Walk boldly through every room, every memory, every shadowed corner. Close the doors that lead to darkness and fling wide the gates that invite light. Let your home become a fortress of love so unshakable that no storm, no spirit, no scheme of the enemy can prevail against it. And when the night falls and the world grows quiet, stand at your threshold and whisper to the darkness beyond: you cannot enter here. This house is filled with light. This family is covered. This space is holy ground. And then step inside, knowing that you have done what few have the courage to do. You have claimed your home, your sanctuary, your soul, and you have declared it untouchable. For in the end, it was never just about protecting four walls. It was about protecting your purpose, your lineage, your destiny. And when you protect those, you do not just change your home. You change the world. There are nights when the stillness feels almost holy, when the air is thick with possibility, and the silence seems to hum with a presence you cannot name. And there are other nights when the stillness feels heavy, suffocating, like a blanket woven from sorrow and unrest. The walls seem to breathe uneasily, the shadows stretch too far. And you sense, deep in the marrow of your bones, that something unseen has crossed your threshold. This is the moment when many turn on a light switch, thinking it is just the darkness of the hour, but no bulb can chase away what dwells in the spirit. There are lights of the soul that must be lit, flames of vigilance and discernment that burn brighter than any lamp. If you are silent in these moments, the darkness will grow bolder. It feeds on passivity, thrives on ignorance, and waits for you to believe that what you feel is just your imagination. But listen to me, your spirit is never wrong. When your soul whispers that something is amiss, it is the truth. The enemy does not always storm through the front door like a raging army. More often he creeps in gently, softly, so that his presence feels natural before you even realize he is there. A small argument left unresolved becomes a grudge. A grudge nurtured becomes hatred. Hatred festers until it births violence, either of the body or the tongue. This is how the darkness grows, one small compromise at a time. And while you are distracted by life's demands, it sets up camp, making a home in the very place meant to be your refuge. Your house becomes a battlefield, but the war is waged silently, invisibly, until the day the damage becomes impossible to ignore. Perhaps you have noticed the signs already. The tension that erupts over the smallest matters, the restless sleep that leaves you exhausted even after a full night's rest, the strange heaviness that greets you the moment you step through the door, the coldness between family members who once shared laughter and love. These are not coincidences, they are symptoms. They are the cries of a house calling out for cleansing, for restoration, for someone to rise and fight. And that someone is you. Not your neighbor, not your pastor, not a distant relative, you. For you are the keeper of this sacred space, the steward of its atmosphere, the warrior chosen to defend its gates. Understand this: the spiritual realm is not distant. It is not some faraway place reserved for holy men and women on mountaintops. It is here, intertwined with the fabric of your daily life. Every word you speak, every thought you entertain, every action you take echoes into that realm and invites either light or darkness. Your home is a portal. It is a threshold between worlds, and what you allow to dwell there will shape the destiny of everyone who enters. This is why the enemy fights so hard for your house. He knows that if he can claim the atmosphere of your home, he can influence your mind, your relationships, your children, your future. But what he forgets is this: you were created with authority. You were crafted in the image of the one who speaks worlds into existence. Your voice is not just sound, it is a sword. Your faith is not just belief, it is a fortress. Do not wait for a perfect moment to rise up. Do not wait for someone to hand you permission. The time is now. Tonight, this very hour. Begin by standing in the center of your home. Even if your knees are trembling, even if your heart pounds with fear, lift your head and speak aloud, for the unseen world responds to what is spoken. Declare that every spirit of chaos, every residue of darkness, every whispering shadow has no place here. Call out their names if you know them: fear, anger, despair, addiction, betrayal. Speak to them with the authority of one who knows they are a child of divine power. Say, you are trespassing and you must go. The darkness may try to resist, but it cannot withstand the truth spoken with faith. And when you have spoken against the darkness, begin to invite the light. Speak words of love, of peace, of restoration. Bless every room. Bless every soul who lives under your roof. Bless even those who have harmed you, for forgiveness is the ultimate key that locks the enemy out. Do not stop until you feel the atmosphere shift. You will know when it happens. The air will feel clearer. Your breath will come easier. A deep, unexplainable peace will settle like a soft blanket over your spirit. That is when you will know the light has come to dwell. But this is not a one-time act. Just as you clean your home regularly, you must also tend to its spiritual cleanliness. Dust gathers when left unattended. So does darkness. It will try to creep back in through the cracks of your habits and the windows of your thoughts. That is why you must remain vigilant. Make it a daily practice to speak life over your home. Begin each morning with gratitude, even if circumstances seem grim. Gratitude is a shield. It confuses the enemy, for he cannot understand how you can praise amidst the storm. He thrives on despair, but gratitude starves him. There will be moments when you grow weary. There will be nights when the battle feels unending, when you wonder if it is even worth the effort. In those moments, remember why you fight. Think of the children who will grow up under your roof, absorbing the atmosphere like sponges. Think of the generations yet unborn whose lives will be shaped by the choices you make now. You are not merely protecting your present. You are rewriting the future. Every door you close to darkness is a door your descendants will never have to fight over. Every blessing you speak is a seed planted in soil that will bloom long after you are gone. And while the fight may feel lonely, you are never truly alone. There are forces of light surrounding you, waiting for your command. The moment you speak in faith, they move. The moment you declare your home a place of holiness, they descend like warriors to guard it. Even when you cannot see them, they are there, standing at the edges of your property, watching, protecting, warring on your behalf. Trust this unseen army. Lean on their strength when yours feels depleted. As you continue this journey, be prepared for resistance. The darkness does not surrender easily. When you begin to close doors, the enemy may attempt to distract you with sudden conflicts, unexpected setbacks, or old wounds resurfacing. Do not be alarmed. These are signs that you are winning. The closer you come to victory, the more desperate the opposition becomes. Stand firm. Do not retreat. Keep speaking, keep praying, keep walking in love. The storm will rage its loudest just before it breaks. Be mindful also of the words spoken within your home. Words are living things. They do not vanish once spoken. They take root either in the soil of light or the soil of darkness. Every insult, every complaint, every word of doubt is a seed the enemy eagerly waters. But every word of encouragement, every declaration of faith, every expression of gratitude is a weapon of light. Choose your words carefully. When anger rises, pause before you speak. When fear whispers, respond with truth. Let your home be filled with words that build, not destroy. And do not neglect the power of silence, not the silence of avoidance, but the silence of stillness. Set aside time each day to sit quietly, to listen for the whisper of divine guidance. In this stillness, you will hear what needs to be done, what doors need to be closed, what changes need to be made. Silence is not weakness, it is strength. It is the space where clarity is born and strategy is revealed. There are also physical actions you can take that mirror the spiritual work being done. Open your windows and let in fresh air, symbolizing the breath of new life. Light candles or incense is an outward sign of inner illumination. Clean your home with intention, speaking blessings as you sweep and dust. These actions are not mere rituals, they are physical expressions of spiritual truths. They remind you that what you do in the natural affects the supernatural. As you walk this path, you will begin to notice that your own heart is changing. The process of cleansing your home will cleanse you as well. You will find old grudges dissolving, fears diminishing, faith growing stronger.